Okay, question 8. So you should see a shaded area and instantly think it's integration. Okay, so the first bit is to write down our integral. And they've been quite helpful. They've told us the limits. They've told us that x is equal to -1. And they've told us that x is equal to 2. Now, if they didn't tell us that, very easy workout. All you do is put the two curves equal to each other. So you'd say, well, x squared plus 2x plus 3, that has to equal 2x squared plus x plus 1, i.e. when do these two curves equal each other? And get them all onto one side. So let's take away an x squared from both sides. Let's take away a 2x from both sides and take away a 3. And then you're just factorising. So what multiplies to -2 adds to -1 will be -2 and 1. So absolutely x is equal to 2 and x is equal to -1. So if they didn't tell you that, you could work that out quite easily. The next thing you need to know is, okay, well, you're integrating with respect to x, but what are you actually integrating? Now, usually when we integrate, we've only got one function. So if I've got something over here, let's say I've got something like this, and I want to know this area and this area, I would integrate between these 2 points separately and then add up what I get. That might come up to +2, that might come to -5, so the area would be 7 because the negative is just the same as below this axis, okay? When we've got two curves, we don't need to worry about that. If this was going below the x-axis and above, doesn't matter. The way we kind of get around that is to do our upper take away our lower. At that point, we can work out the area enclosed between two functions. Usually it's between the function and the x-axis. So upper take away lower. And now let's look. This looks pretty high, doesn't it? This must be the upper function. No. Okay, be careful. But this is the area I'm wanting to integrate in here, and it's the function that's on top of that bit. Okay, so there's my upper function there, and my lower function would be this one. Okay, so don't get confused just because the blue line here suddenly looks higher up than this line. That's only after the enclosed area. Through the enclosed area is this function which is on top, this one here, and the blue one is on the bottom. Alright, so integral of 2, 1 dx, and my upper, like I said, is the red. So that's going to be x squared plus 2x plus 3. And to that, I'm going to take away the blue of the lower, which is 2x squared plus x plus 1. Job's done. Okay, so now I just need to make sure I simplify it. So x squared take away 2x squared, negative x squared. 2x take away x is just x, and 3 take away 1 is 2. Tick. So just one mark for that, which is a bit mean if you ask me, but I suppose you've not done anything too tricky. So yeah, don't forget your dx, and don't forget this bracket around the lower function. Okay, don't just take away 2x squared. Without the bracket, you're just taking away 2x squared. You need the bracket to take away each of these terms. And if they ask you where they meet, we've discussed that as well. So nice little question. And the next one says evaluate the shaded area. I have started this because it's very easy to make a little mistake. So the first thing you'll do is substitute in. So you would write down your integral. Sorry, what you want to do is actually integrate. Sorry. What you want to do is integrate and then substitute in. And I think if I, what I'll do, I'll just show that line where I integrate. But I have started the substitution just to show you the working. So if we integrate between 2 and 1, so when we're adding 1 onto the power and dividing by the new power, yeah? Add 1 onto the power, divide by the new power, and 2 become 2x, okay? Now I'm free to substitute in the 2 and substitute in the -1, which is -1, which I've shown in red. Now, for your question here, I'm just going to get the marking scheme out. At this point, you've got 1 mark out of 3. At this point, you've got 2 marks. Okay, so we're most of the way there. At this point, I think I would stop and do the rest of the paper, because the next bit really need to take your time with, and it's only worth 1 mark. Okay, so if we start working our way through, be careful, that negative is outside the x. It's not negative x cubed, it's x cubed negative. Okay, so be very careful with that when you're substituting. I put these together, so 4 over 2 is 2, plus the 4 is 6, and I turned that into thirds. And for this one, negative 1 cubed will give me a negative, and then that negative makes it a positive. So positive a third. A half take away 2 is negative 3 over 2. Put them into 6. 2 negatives make a positive, and then simplify. There's actually quite a bit to go through there for 1 mark. So I think at this point, if you can really take your time and make sure you integrate correctly, substituting correctly, that's you got 2 marks. Okay. The next bit, I would come back, and that's kind of a bonus. That last little mark, because it is a wee bit of work for, just 1 mark. And it's very easy to make one mistake. So take your time with that at the end of the paper, and really take your time so you can spot what's going on. But I'll bet you the one thing people make a mistake with will be this bit here. It's 2 cubed negative. Okay, it's not negative 2 cubed. That's the big mistake. All right. So I hope that was helpful. That's question number, what are we up to now? Question number 8. So we're halfway through.